There's a lot of things.
I would like to call the October 16th, 2024 Business Committee meeting to order. Roll call.
Ms. Buckley Sharpenshay.
Here.
Mr. Clyde Duplantis.
Here.
Ms. Leslie Wells.
Here. Thank you. Item 2, insurance. To receive a quarterly performance report on the self-funded medical plan as presented by Buddy Leday of Gallagher Benefit Services Incorporated. Good evening, Mr. Leday.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a little sweaty and stinky. I was raising money for scholarships for Lafourche Parish students at the Bi-Industrial Group Seafood Social. So, great event. We raised a ton of money last year to scholarship students from Lafourche Parish to go to Fletcher and to Nichols. So, that's where I've been all afternoon, and Delilah was there helping me. So, but we're here now. So, and I'll brought y'all some samples in the back. So this is a quarterly report. We do this every quarter, and this is the aggregate report that you guys have seen a million times, right? I'm going to go through it briefly because y'all have seen it so many times and just kind of hit on a few points. First of all, as you'll see in the far left column, we start in 2024, and then on the far right, it goes all the way back to 2013. And we like to do this just to show you a history of where we've been and where we are now. It gives you a good idea of how much percentage the school board pays versus employees and retirees, and how it's broken down over the years, and on the years when there was surplus versus deficit and so forth. So if ever there's questions about prior years, when you'll see like a big jump, we could explain what happened on those years, like the year we did a pharmacy RFP, the year we moved to Medicare Advantage. Those things made big impacts on the plan. For 2024, you'll see in the first column is the claims per month. And everybody always wonders, how much does this actually cost us? And it's kind of crazy to think, but it costs, as you can see, anywhere from $1.3 to $2.1 million per month just for the medical bills for the employees. And you guys are self-funded, so that's coming out of your coffers and, of course, their contributions as well. It's self-funded insurance. The gross claims year to date at $16.3 million. And you'll see September was a pretty bad month. I will say this about what I hope to see in the future, and it's a bad thing, but in a way, it might help the last few months. Y'all have some really sick people right now. Y'all have several major cancers in y'all plan right now. What happens is those people, as the treatment goes forward, they closer and closer to what's called their specific deductible, which is $300,000. And after they get to that point, then reinsurance kicks in. So it doesn't cost y'all that money anymore. Y'all have like 4 people about to hit it. So y'all have about 4 people. Y'all have one who has, three who have at this point, and then there's like 3 more to come. So that means they're sick, but when it gets to 300, it gives y'all some relief at that point. But we also got to remember that's going to not help us with the reinsurance renewal, which we're going to come with next month. So we're working on it. We're negotiating it right now, and we're out shopping it. So just keep that in mind. Specific reimbursements is the next column at $89,000. That's money I've gotten back year to date of people who've hit it and some carryover from prior year. Drug rebates, that's $1.4 million. That's money you're getting back from the drug rebates that we negotiated. Keep in mind, we also have the payer matrix program in there. That's actually lowering your rebates because some of the drugs aren't getting the rebates because you're getting some funding for those drugs, which has helped a good bit. Net claims at 14.7 after that. Fixed cost, that is your Blue Cross administrative cost. We have 1 more year of a rate guarantee with Blue Cross Blue Shield. So there's nothing that no action needs to be taken on that. But that's what you pay them to access their network, utilize it, and they also run all your claims. For employees, unless we've tried to educate them as best as we can, but they don't have actual Blue Cross insurance. They have insurance from the school district. They're just using Blue Cross's network, right? Okay, Blue Cross is charging you guys to administer the plan. The Humana premium, that's Medicare Advantage. Again, that was a huge help. We talked at the last meeting. There was a little bit of a tip between us and Humana about a 2-year rate guarantee they had issued. They wanted to kind of get out of it. We were able to negotiate with them, and they're going to honor it. So next year, we already talked about that. Y'all took action, renewed it, which was great because we're seeing some districts with like 100% rate increases on Medicare. And a lot of it has to do with some laws initiated by the Inflation Protection Act, which require Medicare programs to lower out-of-pocket costs on the plan for these people, but at the same time, what happens is it raises premium, right? So it's just moving money from one bucket to the other, but it affected it greatly. That'll be something we have to look really closely at next year, and a good chance we'll have to shop that and maybe move from Humana, but we hope not to. But I'm just kind of preparing you. So there's your total cost at 17.5, your average number on the plan. Retiree funding. Guys, at a state level for a few years now, right? We've made a decision, no, you guys made a decision, the board administration, to try to keep their contributions level. And that's been really hard to do, but y'all have done it, which I know they all appreciate very, very much. There hasn't been a rate increase in a while for neither active or retiree. So that's a good thing. But what happens is it causes you guys to have to contribute extra dollars, all right? You'll see what happens at that 8.4 million. That's what levelized funding every month y'all do. And then y'all have to supplement that with additional funds to meet the needs of the plan to the tune of $3.8 million this year. So it's about a 70-30 split. You'll see that 28 to 70.15. Some years we're closer to like 60-40. Some years it's 65-35. Right now it's actually about 70% of the plan, both for retirees and active employees, is being funded by the district, and they pay about 30% of the total cost of the plan. Okay? Again, that's a decision you have to make for retention, recruitment, all the things that you have to do to keep it competitive. The monthly average cost of over 1.9 million, and it's 14% higher than it was last year. Last year was a good year. We saved some money last year. We had a decrease from the prior year. It ran well, but as you can see, that reality might not be this year. And we always talk about that. I think last year we were talking about doing oh, look how good it's running. Maybe we could do more. And we always say it real quickly can turn around on us, and it did for this year. So that's the report for this quarter. If you'll have any questions, please let me know. Again, I'm hoping that the last 3 months get better due to a few of the high claimants hitting specific. Right.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Try.
Moving on to B, to consider recommendations presented by Buddy Leday of Gallagher Benefit Services for dental and vision for 2025 and to take appropriate action.
Okay, so obviously we have two contracts with you guys. We are your consultant on your medical plan, which we handle that on one side, and then we are your broker also for your benefits, which are mostly voluntary benefits. There's a small contribution you guys make on the dental. So what we do is we typically try to negotiate rate guarantees on a 2 or 3 year basis. And then after that, typically what happens is you'll see rate increases. So we go back out to market to try and find dental carriers, create competition. The intention is always to stay with what we have. And we always give them the opportunity to keep the business if they're willing to compete. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. In this case, they weren't willing to come down, neither one. So we were with Emeritus. This is who we were with on dental and vision. Great company. We do a lot of business with Emeritus. They're great to work with. But they came in with a 25% rate increase on dental insurance. And that's a big hit, especially for the family plan. That would cost people a lot of money. So we took it out to market. We brought them down to a 15.4% just by negotiating, showing them some competition. And so right then and there, we got it down about 10% from what they wanted. But we did get a quote from Dina Dental. Dina Dental, Representative Kaylee Blanchard. She's here. She lives here in Thibodaux, which is great to have somebody local. Dina, we worked with Kaylee for years, but they came at 8.4, which out of about, 30 different dental carriers we went to, roughly 20 to 30 in that range. They were the most competitive on the rates. They also enhanced the plan a little bit for us, which was good. So they're at 8.4. They're giving us a 2-year rate guarantee. And on the middle plan, so you have a 3-tier plan. They actually raised the endo-perio co-insurance up, so you get 60% versus 50 after deductible. So that's a positive to the plan. So a little bit better of a plan. And of course, we went back to Emeritus with that 8.4 to their 15.4, and they didn't budge. So we're going to recommend to move to Dina Dental. Dina's a great company. Like I said, we do a lot of business with them. They have some reputable groups that they work with. We talk about dental network because that comes up a lot. The dentists around here, very few of them get in anyone's network. It's just traditionally what happens, because then that way they can balance bills. So what we look for is for the 90th percentile of reasonable and customary charges. And so we compare that, and their fee schedule compares favorably, right? And so people can still go to any dentist they want. My dentist is not in anyone's network, but he's a high school classmate, so that's what I go to. And that's what most people do. They can go in network if they choose, and there are some dentists in network, but to say Emeritus is better than Dina, they're not. They're about the same, but you can still go to any dentist you want as long as they're willing to follow your plan. Okay? So that's my dental rundown. Delilah did a great job with the negotiations, getting us from 25 down to 8.4. So that was just a lot of back and forth and a lot of work on her part. So So we're going to recommend action is to approve to move to Dina Dental this year for the benefit. It's on a 2-year rate.
Can I get a motion? Motion by Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? Any board comment or questions? Ms. Bennett?
So I have a question.
Yep.
You said that this is to do with dental and vision. Do we know of any changes to the vision insurance?
Yes, so we're going to recommend a different vision carrier. So right now, we're recommending taking action on dental only.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about vision next.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Any other board?
So y'all want to vote on them together, or you want to vote on them separately, since it's one item? So we'll do one. Okay, well, let's talk vision. Okay. So vision also was with Emeritus. And typically, some companies do vision and dental, but sometimes we have to split them, okay? They initially came back with a 25% rate increase. Again, it's based on claims utilization, okay? Which is good. The people are getting their teeth cleaned and they're getting their eyes checked. That's a positive thing in a way. We negotiated them down to 15.4, very similar to the dental. We went out to market and a new company that we just started doing business with, a very reputable company with a lot of my colleagues, is a company called Community Eye Care. The representative is Bo Mathern from Lockport. He's with Community Eye Care. He's a Central Lafourche graduate. Really good guy, came by, explained his product to it. Has a lot of cool features to it that we really liked, and I'll talk about those. But he came in with a 2.7% increase over current, which is pennies. It's very, very little. We went back to Emeritus with that. They weren't willing to match it. They would only go to 15.4. So we're 2.7 was the most competitive. He came with a 4-year rate guarantee, which we don't get that much, right? It's usually 2. Sometimes we could squeeze 3. He came with 4, and they enhanced the plan in a couple of ways. They went from a 12-12-24. So that means you can get an exam, lenses, and frames every 24 is what you had. He's going 12-12-12. You get frames, lenses, and exam every year. So you don't have to wait 2 years for your frames, okay? They also have some cool other functions, one of which is a conversion at the same cost you currently have the plan. So if somebody leaves, they're not going to be on y'all bill anymore, but they will get a notice from Community Eye Care says, you want to keep your vision, you can pay the same thing you were paying before and you can keep it. You retire, you leave the school district, you keep your vision insurance. It doesn't go get your claims or anything like that. It's just an individual policy. That's unique. He also has a split dollar. So that your plan has $150 annual benefit towards lenses. If you want to split it between a frame, toward frames, you want to do some to your contacts, some to your frames, you could split it if you want. That's different. The other thing he's going to do is pay out of network, in network, same way as in network. Out and in will be the same, which is great. The last one, which is really neat to me, a lot of people get their eyes checked and they don't need eyewear. The eyes are good. You could actually use your benefit toward retail. So you can go to Academy or any sunglass hut. You could buy sunglasses or work glasses or anything like that. Go online, submit your receipt, and you can get your $150 towards your purchase. It's a really neat plan. It's a VSP-owned company. We looked at the network. I will say there was one little glitch, and we're working through it right now. The one was Advanced Eye Institute. We've already got Dr. Darby to agree he's in now. Within minutes, he signed a piece of paper, and he's on their website. He's in network. And then we're working with Advanced Eye Institute in Thibodeau to try and make sure they're in network too. But the good news is that he's going to pay the same in and out of network, so it should be fine. A fairly unique plan, and again, I try to keep it local if I can. Kaylee's here at Thibodeau, Bo's in Lockport, so it's a win-win, and it's local people. So I think we get a good service when we deal with other locals. So any questions about that? We're going to recommend to go to the action would be to go to Dina Dental for dental on a 2-year rate guarantee and go to Community Eye Care, CEC Vision on a 4-year rate guarantee.
Still make the motion.
Thank you. Any further questions now that we have the information about the vision?
The retirees are,
What's that?
also the retirees can sign up for that?
No, not at this time. No,
Not at this time.
not at this time. That's something we could potentially discuss with CEC. But what they're saying is, if you work here and you retire and you were on the plan, going forward, you can keep it. But it won't be like the Lafourche Parish retiree plan.
Right.
You're buying an individual plan. Because the administrative part of having additional deductions and all that. So this is a start for future retirees to keep their vision insurance, okay? We can talk about potentially offering it to current retirees. I would just be caution about that because that would go against claims utilization for the rest of the group. That's not something we've ever done, but we can look into it. So, but future retirees can keep this and it's not going against your claims. Okay?
Just for clarification.
Yep.
When you say retirees,
Mhm.
talking about those on the Advantage?
No, it doesn't matter. Somebody leaves this system and they want vision, they can take it with them. It has nothing to do with y'all at that point.
It could be a retirement.
Somebody can work here for 6 months and quit and they can take it with them.
No, I'm talking about, because I'm a retiree,
Mhm.
but I do have vision and dental from the Push Parish School Board because I was an employee. But I'm not old enough to be on the Medicare Advantage. So I
You
follow
got
the.
your vision and dental as a board member.
No,
Y'all got it as,
We don't have board member insurance.
okay, so
I'm
you
not
got it
going
as a
as an
retiree.
employee.
Okay,
as I retired.
okay.
But I still follow the same as,
Okay.
I'm not on the Medicaid Advantage. I still follow
You
the
got Blue
same.
Cross, you got the
Yes,
medical.
the same as the
Yeah.
employees that are still currently working.
Okay,
There's a little gap.
right.
So do I fall under this?
That's a good question, Ms. Val. I don't think retirees have this insurance.
I do have vision and dental.
And that's why I asked, because my wife's retired, and we had to go out and find our own dental and vision insurance.
And I need to talk to Chastity about that.
So
So.
it's my understanding that you can have COBRA for 18 months after you retire, but dental and vision, ends.
Y'all might have been grandfathered into something.
Yeah, we had to go
I had
out and,
VSP
yeah, we had to go out and get our own.
and emeritus.
Even though we had it while she was employed.
I kept it when I retired,
On your own.
under the same,
Are they deducting it from your payroll?
no,
Okay. Well, you have an individual, it's the same way then.
okay,
You're paying directly to them?
yes.
Okay, it's the same kind of concept. Okay? So
But I would switch over to these,
no, because you're not part of the school board's plan right now.
okay.
You keep what you have. Okay? Yeah. So you're throwing me off there because I was like, they don't payroll deduct dental and vision
No.
for your retirement checks. That's why you were throwing me off there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I
But we'll
would keep
circle
the
back to
same-
clarify,
okay,
yeah.
Okay,
You'll keep what you have. You're not switching over.
all right.
You have, what you technically have is like an individual policy.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was emeritus.
It is.
Okay.
So Kayla used to work for Ameritas and she said they do offer individual plans.
So they basically rolled you into that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Any further discussion? If not, let's vote, please.
They had 10 years. That's
Motion carries.
I just always assumed I followed the same plan y'all followed.
Moving on to item C, to consider the renewal of short-term and long-term disability for 2025 as presented by Buddy Leday of Gallagher Benefit Services Incorporated, and to take appropriate action.
Yeah, so short and long-term disability is with New York Life, y'all, on a 3-year rate guarantee. That means next year will be your 3rd year, all right? So you have New York Life short and long-term benefits. We're not going to shop it because it has another year of the rate guarantee. We're just letting you know that next year. So there's no new action needed. You're already in it. We're not changing anything for 1 more year. So this is just for informational purposes. Okay.
Then item D, to consider the renewal of life insurance for 2025.
Same thing as, same as the disability. It's with Guardian, however, it's not with New York Life. It's on the 3rd year of a 3-year rate guarantee in 2025. So next year we'll likely have to shop those rates, but for 1 more year, for informational purposes, we're letting you know nothing's changing. No action needed.
Thank you so much for that information.
All right.
Moving on to item 3, finance. To receive reports on bids for refrigerant and take appropriate action. Ms. Montana?
Good evening. This is just to recommend accepting the only responsive and responsible bid for refrigerants. It is comparable to what we're currently paying for the refrigerant. So my recommendation is to accept the one bid that we did receive.
Can I get a motion? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any comments from the public? Or discussion on this? Hearing none, we can vote. Motion carries. Item B, to receive monthly budget to actual report for all major funds for the period through September 30th, 2024. Ms. Jaskino.
Hi, good evening. So the current month actuals budget report is for the month ending September 30th, 2024. And currently, we're still working underneath the 2023 audit major funds. Our 2024 audit is progressing, but it's not going to be completed until November. So we're going to be looking at the general fund, the 1995 sales tax salary restricted fund, the salary supplement fund, 2021 construction funds, which will be presented by Shasta Shazan at the limited facilities meeting, and the hurricane recovery fund will be under a separate report. As indicated on page 3 of the statement that was presented to you, 22.6% of the revenue budgeted has been received for a total of $26,281,235. As indicated on page 20 of the statement, 76.5% of the expenditures budgeted has been expended or obligated for a total of $120,814,548. This was a substantial increase from August due to us recording our encumbrances or the future anticipated cost of our payroll for the year. So that's why there was a big increase there. 1995 sales tax salary restricted fund, we collected 8.5% of the revenue budgeted and totaling up $1,497,698. And 47% of the budgeted expenditures totaling $4,614. Salary supplement fund, we've received 0.4% of the revenue budgeted for a total of $23,336, and this is because it is ad valorem based, and we will start receiving those funds in January. And 0.9% of the budgeted expenditures totaling $1,832. And this is just a transfer in and out, so our transfers will happen closer to the end of the year.
Item C, to receive a periodic budget report for special revenue and proprietary funds.
So our proprietary funds are our group health fund, the loss control fund, and the workers' compensation fund. This can be seen in the green columns on the spreadsheet provided. We have our budgeted column, which is first, and then the second is the actual through September 30th. Currently, we have a deficit of $5,320,453. This is kind of normal at this point in time. The group health insurance has a total of $4.5 million in the negative, and we're pending some journal entries for employer and employee contributions from payrolls, and so that will offset that and pretty much equal it out. Any deficit remaining at the end of the year will be covered by the general fund through the budgeted transfers that we have. The loss control fund also shows a slight deficit of $300,000, but we record our revenues when we pay our insurance premiums and charge the other funds for it. So that will happen in the spring of 25. And then the workers' compensation fund also has a journal entry pending for employer contributions for the first quarter of the year, and that will cover that deficit. So should any adjustments be needed, we will bring those to your attention prior to June 30th.
Item D, to receive a financial report on Hurricane Ida response and recovery to date.
So as of September 30th, 2024, we have expended $120,573,993 for Hurricane Ida. The total amount received from FEMA in September September of 2024 was $1,013,752 for a total aggregate reimbursement of $51,363,861. Of this amount, we have submitted to Hancock Whitney on our hurricane loan $1,363,861. And the total amount submitted for reimbursement and obligated by FEMA is $69,873,670.
Item 4, transportation. To receive a presentation from Billy Ernst with Angel Tracks and to take appropriate action. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Billy Ernst. I'm with Angel Tracks. I've actually been with the company for almost 17 years now. So we're here to talk about the video systems that you have on your school buses, the cameras and everything. I believe this is to go with the wireless services to be able to track the buses, to be able to retrieve video from those buses remotely, again, look live inside of the vehicles and that. So I like to talk, so they made me put together something so I don't ramble on. So, but if I don't know, do I have something to move it or is there? All right. So just a little bit about Angel Tracks. We're leading our industry in safety and security by pushing boundaries and exceeding expectations. Again, I'll show you some of these examples as we move through this. Driving unparalleled solutions and forward-thinking concepts for the transportation industry, and connecting with our customers by building trust and impactful partnerships that last beyond the purchase. So our main priority is obviously the safety and security of those children on those buses. We believe that a comprehensive mobile video surveillance system with multiple camera views and remote access will obviously aid in bullying prevention, bus driver protection, investigating accusations, mitigating misbehaviors, assessing emergencies. These are more of the wireless features on the right side here, assessing emergencies in real time, reducing liability exposure, asset tracking, and data security. So those are our main focuses here. So this is the DVR that you guys currently have or are looking at is the V1284. This is one of our newer systems. This is one of the ways that we have kind of stepped out ahead of everyone else in the industry. We have actually moved over to 3.5-inch hard drive. I know that probably doesn't mean a lot to y'all, but in the industry, what that is that right now everybody's using a little 2.5-inch hard drive in there. We've actually gone to the larger hard drives. We see that the industry is trending that way, and even the hard drive manufacturers are starting to produce less and less of those 2.5-inch drives. So we went ahead and redid our systems to go ahead with a 3.5-inch drive. What that basically does is allow us to put as much storage inside of those vehicles as we need to. So if you guys wanted to get a whole year on a hard drive, we could certainly do that as well. So it is an 8-channel. Oh, you are perfectly fine. Keep going. This is our panic button, or a little event marker. This is on the vehicles themselves. This serves a couple different purposes. One, drivers use this as a pre-trip. The little green light you see on the one on the left, that is actually letting them know that that DVR is on and it is recording. So we ask them to look at that as part of their pre-trip. The other part of it is they can actually press this button. And without the wireless features, what it does is just mark that hard drive, right? So they have an incident, they press this button, and then whoever's going to review the video, rather than saying, hey, I had an incident at 7:30 and they watched 2 hours of video, it was really 6:30, right? So this gives them the ability, they press this button and it marks that hard drive. With wireless capabilities, you can actually be notified in the moment that someone has pressed that button, okay? With the ability with the wireless features as well, whenever somebody presses that button, we can download 30 seconds, a minute of all the cameras on the buses that are going to actually download so that you kind of have a snapshot of what was going on when they pressed that button. It's a big part of safety as well, especially with the wireless features. You know, drivers driving down the road and kids smoking. I know your kids don't do anything like that, but smoking in the back of the bus, rather than them constantly looking in that mirror to catch them, they just reach over and press that button. Again, they get notified in transportation that that button has been pressed. Again, they know that there's some video that they need to go look at. So again, this is a feature that's on all of our DVRs. So, but again, it's a major feature we like to talk about. This is just the camera. This is a wide angle camera. When we were talking again about leading the industry, we were actually the first in the industry to stagger these cameras along the sides of the buses. Once the seats went to high back seats and you had them in the front and looking from the middle, you couldn't see anything. But we actually were the first to move these cameras staggered, and this is just a picture of that camera. I do have some video. I think it may be up in the next one. These are just the actual camera views themselves. The top left is the camera out the front windshield. The one to the right, this is actually the cameras inside of your bus. So this is actually your bus, where you can actually see staggered through the next 4 cameras. The camera on the second row on the right and the one on the bottom row on the left are exterior cameras on either side that's giving you what's going on outside of that bus. Okay. And then, of course, you have the rear camera as well. So there is a backing camera on this system as well. So this is a picture of just that, the CP4 monitor, the monitor that would be mounted inside of the vehicle that allows the driver to be able to back up and actually see a backup camera when they're backing up. So this is just a picture of what that monitor and camera looks like. These are 2 of our systems that we use. The Pro 8 CMS, that is all of your video, anything to retrieve from that hard drive. With Pro 8 CMS, I'll have a little more detail in another slide, but this is just kind of some features. You do have live view. You have the ability to do an automatic download where you can create a task for a vehicle, whether it's off. We do have the ability we can ask these things to wake themselves up in between the routes, so you can actually put in a task. Again, you've got a meeting, you just go to your meeting. When you come back, that video is downloaded to our server. It's kind of the same as the remote video recovery. In the moment, you get some parent call in and says, hey, your bus driver just went right by my child, stopped, left them standing out in the rain. You could actually go review that video while that vehicle's still out on the route. Okay. Again, you have the ability to pull that video as well. We can create roles for access as well. Again, the people only need to see their specific buses or certain schools, so we can create different roles for that as well. This is just a little bit about the cellular connectivity and just kind of how it works. Again, buses out on the road, we're using cellular connectivity to actually be able to go in and review that hard drive and look live inside of that vehicle through cellular connectivity. So, receive notifications instantly. Again, everything is live in the moment. So again, buttons pressed, you're notified in that moment. So this is the Pro 8 CMS. These are just some other features that we have on here. Again, live view, you can create snapshots, remote video clipping, automatic event clipping. Again, there's certain things that you can request from the vehicle that whenever that certain things happen, we're downloading videos. So there is an alert center. We can do remote setup if there's some changes that need to be made, or maybe you guys take it from one bus and put it in another bus. We can actually remotely go in and change the bus numbers and do firmware upgrades and things like that as well, without having to go touch each individual bus. Again, all the video and data files are stored on our server that you have downloaded to, and then of course you would review them from the server and save them locally over to your side. So. This is MotorTracks. This is kind of our tracking. We actually do tracking just a little bit different than some of our competitors in the camera industry, is that we're collecting GPS data every second. You know where that bus is right now. It's not every 5 or 10 seconds where it stops and then it skips across. You'll know exactly where that bus is right now. So again, you have an emergency, you need to send someone to that bus, you'll know exactly where that bus is, not where it was 5 seconds ago. So. This is just part of our MotorTracks as well, event history. We do geofencing, and again, we're collecting a lot of data from these vehicles, all the turns, all the brakes, backups, stop arms, amber lights. Every time one of those is triggered, we're actually collecting that on the DVR. But we're also sending this data up to MotorTracks. So we use this page to kind of recreate what happened with a vehicle based on events. So if you wanted to see every stop arm that went out between 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning, you could actually pull that up, and over on the right you can see that there's actually the addresses there, and if you were to hover over those, it would actually show you the map of where that is. So It is all in real time as well, even with the geofencing, so you'll know exactly when a bus gets to a school and exactly when it leaves. So again, you will get all of that information in real time. This is just an example of the geofencing. This is around the city in Dothan. Again, we can do multiple geofences. You want to know when they leave the school, when they get to this school, again, when they leave the city limits, when they get back in the city limits. Again, this is just an example of the geofencing. This is, again, just a report about the geofencing, just kind of telling you, again, you can do reports by the vehicles, so you can print them out and actually see when they entered and exited those, especially if you're getting a complaint that somebody's late, or again, not getting to a stop, you could actually see when they entered and exited those geofences. Within the motor tracks as well, we also do give you the ability to know if a hard drive's not working. If a camera stops working, you'll actually know that. So you don't go to pull a video and realize the camera you need's been out for 2 weeks. Okay? You can actually be notified that that camera's not working, or again, that a hard drive's not working. So those are just different notifications. There are mobile apps as well, just so you know, for the motor tracks and the Pro 8 CMS. Again, you can have live view. Again, you have the ability to pull video from that vehicle as well if you needed to, and of course track it through the motor tracks. Tech support, people ask us all the time, what's the difference between y'all and everybody else? And I tell we can all give you 1920 by 1080 cameras, and we can all, again, have DVRs that record whatever. Our support is where we excel amongst everyone else. Again, I've been with this company for 17 years. It's been open for 22. The thing they have drilled into our head is support. So our tech support is available 24/7. It's based out of Dothan, Alabama. It's all in-house. You're not going to call and get someone from another country. You're going to get someone in Dothan, Alabama. So your experience with Angel Tracks before, during, and after the purchase is where we excel amongst everyone else in the industry. So these are just some examples of some of our partners that we've had. I can tell you that the Lafayette and Terrebonne, I was actually there installing those way back in the day. So again, but we want to just give you some examples and some references that we have from some schools here in Louisiana as well. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
For the outside cameras, can the bus drivers see those? Do they have a monitor where they can?
So the monitor can be set up in different kinds of ways. Okay, we actually do have a new system that's called the bird's eye view. It's actually a 360 cam of all the way around the bus. That again, a driver has a monitor on there where again, a child is on this side of the bus. It's going to pop up on the monitor. They're there. But this particular system, we can have them set up where if you wanted to see them all, they certainly could. But typically in a school bus setting, what we do is we don't really, because you don't want them using that. You really want them using their eyes with these particular cameras. Now, the bird's eye view obviously would be different, but yes, we could set it up, or again, we could have it where whenever they just put it in reverse, it pops that image up of that back camera. So it would just depend on what you want.
What about, you said y'all have apps for the GPS tracking. Is that something a parent could watch for the bus?
Right now, it is not, just because it is a user base, like we're giving people roles and access to it. We have not really had the ability yet to say, here's a mass thing for parents to use and that. So right now we do not. There's other people in the industry that do that. And again, our main focus is typically just the camera side. Mm-hmm. We are collecting a lot of data, so that's why we decided to provide this. But to be honest, we're just not really a routing company. So that's typically why we don't. Why we do not have that.
Just with the geofencing, could it be tied into the bus drivers could clock in with a geofence? I know some
I will take the next presentation is on routing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the cameras, but not that you're not wrong, right? But the routing has all the features that y'all are referencing.
Yeah, and again, there's companies that do that, so that's one of the reasons we don't. We don't want to be one of those that, hey, we can just do everything. We want to be really good at what we do. And so that's why we don't tend to try to get into those other areas as well. So.
Any other Questions? And then, we need a motion to,
Mr. Arnold.
When on the slide, it was maybe slide 6, something like that, that had all the camera views. That was the one with the video.
Well, they did have a video, but I think they downloaded it as a PDF, so the video wouldn't play. So I just, yeah, it was the same thing with the tracking. I think as it was downloaded as a PDF, it didn't play the actual video.
Anything you need to add, Mr. Arnold, to the presentation before I get directly?
I have a question. Let me preface this by, I am technology idiot. Okay?
Challenged.
Not if you talk to my wife. And each bus has their own camera, and then I guess there's a unit somewhere that controls everything.
Yes, sir, a DVR.
Okay. So, but is there a unit like at the school that watches over all this, or goes?
It's a
to the-
program that's downloaded onto it's a software that's downloaded onto a computer, whether it's in transportation or in the schools, however you all are deciding to use that.
Okay.
But it's just a program that they would go into. Again, there's access. We have to create roles for people to give them access to that. So it's not something that just somebody can download and get into.
And I guess this is where I'm getting at. I know when bad weather happens, I lose my DirecTV. So is there bad weather, they can still control it and see everything that's going on from all the different buses? And
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you're going to be limited, obviously, by cellular coverage. Sometimes you're going to get in an area where it's not that great. But even in that situation, if you're downloading video, it may pause for a second. But as soon as it picks that cellular back up, it just picks up where it left off. There's no like rebuffering and starting all over. It just picks up where it was. But you certainly, again, I haven't necessarily seen any issues because of weather. But again, obviously, cellular coverage could become an issue, depending on where that is.
If I could just add a little context also, because I know the committee is prepared to vote. It's a sizable comment. I just want to sort of tell you where we are today, and where we are today with our cameras is broken. We have many of our buses that don't have any cameras operating today. And we have been in limbo for quite a while. The state of the hurricane and everything else has had us where we've been automating buses and putting cameras in position, but what we don't have is the capability that he spoke to. The principal needs to do an investigation, or transportation needs to do an investigation, the real-time capability to pull the footage and to see into the seats of the bus what happened and around the bus. So the big selling point that I want to re-emphasize and what we presented is you get 8 cameras that gives you a full view of what's going on. You know when the DVR is working, and a human being doesn't have to go out and pull the footage the way it has happened today. Today, a paraprofessional, STA or a technology coordinator, whatever title they have in 2024, has to go to the bus with a memory stick and pray that the video was actually recording, then come back and then spend 2 hours. The man hours alone on what we're doing right now are hard to justify when we can technologically do this. Mr. Arnold will be able to, from his cell phone, do in 5 seconds what it took 4 people to physically go to the bus to retrieve the footage and cross fingers that we captured. Vehicular accident, all sorts of issues that happen. That's why we're recommending to the committee to adopt this product at a very sizable cost, but frankly, the safety of 14,000 or so kids every day is what we're talking about.
So I have a question. Obviously, we're going to be coming soon to the end of a contract with our bus company.
Yeah.
Can anybody, like, what is that, like 2027 or 2028?
December of 26. And
Okay.
if we stay with the current bus provider, right, you can already assume we'll be having to transition the current equipment to new buses, whether we stay with the current provider or get a new one. We have a quote from Anglo-Trax to transition all of the equipment to new buses if the need ever arises.
That was my
So they
question.
provide that service. You can transition.
Is it an additional cost, or is that included in our
That is
contract?
not included in this contract. It would be an additional cost. But that cost is going to be yours to bear regardless of what bus contract we enter into going
Okay.
forward. The lifespan of a bus is such that you're going to be moving when you get there. So the decision you're at right now is, do you stay blind for 2 more years? Because we don't want to have the cost of potentially reinstalling cameras, or do we buy it now and then pay the additional fee to have them moved?
But my thought was, I just wanted to see if we had taken that into consideration, that we would have big changes coming soon, possibly.
No, that was the first question I asked. Ms. Email and I and Mr. Arnold have spoken extensively about this. Even in light of the fact that we may be moving these to newer buses, again, whether it's with a current provider or a new, we feel that the time is now. We can't stay blind. We have too many buses that we are completely unable to see what's going on.
Thank you. I have a question. In looking at the cost, we being a cost to install it in a 1-year agreement. After the installation and the backup cameras, going forward, we're just going to pay the agreement costs. I know you're going to have to maybe purchase some more cameras along the way, but going forward, we would only do the agreement costs.
Yeah, like when you say agreement, like the recurring annual cost?
Yes, sir.
Like the initial purchase is done with, you just pay that annual recurring cost. And that's really for the cellular.
Yes, for the cellular and then the access, the licensing for the Pro 8 CMS. There's only one, you have one license for the Pro 8 CMS and you can have as many users on it as you would like. You're not paying by user or anything like that. I mean, if I could just say one thing, just because you did bring up a point a second ago about reliability and that, about going to those. We have actually, part of our transition over and go into this 3.5-inch drive. We use what we call it's called a purple drive from Western Digital, the largest hard drive manufacturer in the world. I'm not sure how long everybody's been in transportation or at any part you've had in it, but I like to call it the hard drive debacle of 2015, 2016, where everybody in the industry was having issues. You go to pull a hard drive out and it says it's recording, there's nothing on it, right? So again, when all of that happened, we actually worked with Western Digital to develop a hard drive that is specific to mobile video. We're the only people that are using that. Again, we had 2 hard drives come back last year at all. So again, if it says it's recording, it's on there. So again, reliability is definitely a big concern of ours as well.
Reliability and consistency, I think, is maybe a marked improvement from what we are now. All right. Now I will take a motion to proceed with the vote. Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Duplantis. Any comments from the public? Any further board discussion?
I just, of course, funding source.
Any other board comments? Hearing none, we can vote. Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you all so
Ernst.
much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, to receive a presentation from Brittany Altieri with Tyler Technologies and take appropriate action. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brittany. This is Mike. Tyler Technologies, we have some one-pagers here. So we have been talking to Mr. Arnold and are going to be talking about our all-in-one solution. The one thing we do not sell are cameras, so the thing Angel Tracks is here. But if you can go to the next slide, please. We are going to discuss our student transportation powered by Traverso all-in-one solution. It's cloud-based, all-in-one. So cloud-based, we will connect directly to your student information system, pull all the student data from there. You can, right there. Oh, there you go. Totally good. So the full system has routing, fleet maintenance, field trips. We have a parent app. We have our tablets. It's a total transportation management solution, which is typically not how transportation departments have operated in the past. So historically, you've got multiple vendors to kind of piece together your operation, and data is just never as fluid as districts are told they would be. So to have everything under one umbrella, truly integrated, go to the next slide, please, just results in a much more seamless operation. You've got, again, one contract, one support team, one training plan. Right on the left-hand side, our software solution. Routing really is the foundation of a transportation operation. That is the first project that we will really start off with. We have an auto route feature, optimization feature. We can take your runs, routes, build in that automation, optimization. So we'll do that with your team. We have a field trips module, the fleet maintenance, our parent app, and then the tablets in the middle there. Mike has some that he's going to pass around. These mount and connect directly onto the vehicle. And you can go to the next slide because I do have a slide that kind of shows that mounted there. So drivers can log in, tracks all of their time. That connects directly into the software. And the GPS location is going to allow the parents to see, exactly where that vehicle is, kind of have that seamless connection and communication into play there. You want to add anything with the tablets at all? Oh,
Yeah, well, it's real-time tracking, sends information back. We're going to talk about the parent portal in a moment. All that information is relayed directly from the tablet back to the software, out to the parents, giving them real-time estimates for their students' arrival. And just so everybody knows, parents can't just look up any students in the district. They're only linked to their individual students, and they can see the GPS and the information.
and you can go to the next slide because that'll actually keep going. Let's see. Going. I wanted to show the parent app. I might have taken, these are some of the alerts that come into play, but this is the MyRide K-12 app. Go one more slide. Sorry, I just wanted to show this one specific, one more, this dynamic sort of feature. One more, sorry, I sent an updated one. So this right here, as the bus is on the route path, for the parents, that time will dynamically change based on that GPS location. So it really prevents a lot of parent phone calls that districts experience, asking, hey, where's my bus? What time is it coming? So it kind of gives a nice, on-time arrival or early arrival, delayed time, and then it will show, when that route is complete for the parent.
And I'll just add on to that. One of the beauties or the beneficial parts of having the Tyler control the hardware and the software end of things is that because we're controlling the hardware on the bus, we can provide an updated ETA at each stop. So if a bus is running late, that stop before the parent is getting an update. If the bus is running early, that parent is getting an update. Also available, you're going to be able to push out notifications to parents. Things like, hey, if a bus is running late, I only want to notify these 5 stops for the upcoming stops. Or, hey, God forbid, the bus is involved in a fender bender. I just want to get a list of all the students that are on the bus at the time and notify those parents. Really giving you unprecedented access and ability to kind of communicate with the district and allow them to communicate with you, but without putting an extra load on transportation.
Absolutely. Okay, go to the next couple slides. I just wanted to get to the one right here. So in Louisiana, we've got a nice footprint. Tyler Technologies, as a company, we work across the United States and into Canada. We have a statewide contract with South Carolina, so we partnered with 81 school districts, implemented that in a 3-year period, and they've been really happy with that implementation. So we have a really nice just footprint and continuing to grow, and it really, I think, does lead to this just all-in-one component of a transportation solution. So this next slide is just a nice quote from Michelle over at Jefferson Parish. I want to send my sincere thanks for the training we've provided to our routers and the support you've provided throughout our in-person training sessions. The training has the routers ecstatic about moving to Traversa. I have heard comments like it is user-friendly. We take Miss Retha home with us, and this is what we have needed for so long. You and Retha came in and opened a new and exciting world for my routers. You both allowed each router to become comfortable with the program and build his or her confidence. I have not seen them this excited since I took this position. So I think that's just a nice testament to what this solution has been able to do for transportation departments, especially in
the team behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
I'll give them a nod.
Yeah.
Support and implementation.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I will say on the support, the team would get implementation consultant as well as a project manager. So that's, and like Mike had said, the software would be kind of 2-phase projects. So you get a project manager specifically for the software, and then for the hardware, it would be sort of a separate project as well. So you have that full support there. This is just another nice quote. And then I do have a video. I don't know if we're able to play this, but it is just a nice video from a school district's perspective on how the solution has helped them, even from the parent perspective.
Well, for local news, with all of this storm talk, today was also the first day of school for students in Bibb County and for kids riding the bus. The school district has put an increased safety measure in place that parents need to know about.
Here's a look at the app that's helping bus drivers and providing peace of mind for parents.
The moment that they enter the buses, they belong to us. And so now protecting them is our number one goal as far as safety and security.
Student safety is number one, and the Bibb County School District has an app to help.
We're still trying to get more and more buy-in from students to utilize that, and with the parents' help, they can achieve that.
The app is called My Ride K-12. It's a resource for parents, students, and bus drivers.
Free to download, and it's very beneficial.
Executive Director of Transportation at Bibb County School District, Jensen Jackson, says the app is an added safety measure to protect students.
Number one, is going to allow parents to access their students' transportation information almost instantaneously.
And the app allows bus drivers to hear the directions so they can focus their attention on the road.
So as we make updates, route students, parents will have access to that information almost immediately when we do.
Students scan their ID once they get on or off the bus. Jackson says,
That
in
was one of
order
my
for parents
questions,
to
too.
track their child's location, they must take an extra step within the app.
Parent app, parents actually turn on the scan notification on the app. When their student scans on and off the bus, they will get a notification that they have done so.
And while the app is helpful in locating students for safety purposes, Curtis Adams, Chief of Police at Bibb County School District, the students must also follow the school bus rules.
Actually, everyone be safe, be respectful of everybody's ability to have a safe ride to school, to come into a safe learning environment. That's all I ask for, is that everyone come.
I think that's pretty much.
Listen to the bus driver.
Kind of covers it. I think the point is, it's good news for the district that you're showing that, you know, safety is important and parent communication is important, and that's, you know, I think really the major benefit. So one of like good news. So, any questions?
That was my question. We know where the bus is, but do we know that my student is on that bus? But scanning tells you they on the bus.
So this is gonna help when you've got a sub, your driver's out, the kid's on a different bus, parents can still track. It's not tied to their bus, it's the bus that they're on.
So we had extensive discussion internally about the scanning feature. So right now, our IDs down to K aren't the type of ID that allows for that. So that would require us to change that. We have internally not recommended to the board adopting that practice just yet, because of the ID challenges and because of the time constraints that we are uniquely positioned here in LaFouche, right? So it would slow down the onboarding of the buses, and it's going to slow down the offboarding. So as kids are getting on and off, they have to physically tap, which doesn't take long. But right now we're very cautious because we're running, I think in the business, it's called runs, right? All of our drivers run 3 runs, and they are back to back to back. So speed is the challenge to implement.
Yeah, and even like I want to reiterate, even if the child doesn't scan in and off, the parent still has access to the tracking for the bus.
Absolutely.
For the bus.
Okay.
Knowing or assuming that because they put their child on the bus that morning, and they're on the bus, and this is where the bus is. So it's a lot more than what we currently have.
And we may get to the scanning one day, but today our recommendation is to not to implement that practice just yet.
Another issue is that I know that the elementary that my children did attend, the elementary level kids didn't go home with their IDs. The teachers took them because there was such an issue of, responsibility and kids leaving them at home and not having them at school. So the teachers would take them at dismissal in the afternoons. So that could be a situation, but, something like you said to look at as a next step, and at least the parents would be able to track the vehicle.
Well, being a K-2 principal, not often, but every now and then, we had a kid get on the wrong bus. And I had to start calling all the buses to see if you have this child on the bus. That would have saved a whole lot of time, you know. It didn't happen often, but it did happen.
It's totally a configurable option. We can turn that off entirely for you guys. And again, I think the intent is that the parents know where the bus is, when it's coming. They're getting ETAs. Software has a dispatching tool to swap buses if the bus breaks down. We have a lot of flexibility in how we roll this out. Student scanning is a great piece. It's not always something that you want to bite off all at once. It's something that can come down the line, or not at all. I mean, if the parents are happy with what they have, there's no need to go that extra step.
So my question is, you said the tablets are now in the bus. Can they be removed by the driver as each night? Because I don't know, do our buses have the capability to lock? Okay, so this would be something that the driver would basically be responsible for and have to take it on and off the bus, correct?
There's an option to secure it where it can't be removed, and we spoke about the capability of using it for pre-trip purposes. So you would want the driver to be able to walk the bus with this tablet. That's kind of the direction we went, and they would remove it when needed.
Nightly, maybe?
Yeah, like we spoke about, you know.
We don't want to have to replace
correct.
tablets often because they left on the bus and Joe Blow comes take them.
I was just saying, it's been a topic of conversation. Obviously, there's been no decision, and this is the practice that we're going to run with. But yes, it's a definite consideration.
Thank you.
I'll just mention, again, I spent a number of years as a trainer in this industry. I actually was in charge of that South Carolina project, and that was a point of concern for them as well. Normally what they do is, like, there's a little locking mechanism, locks it right in and out. But what they would do is they'll take them off at the end of the bus, at the end of the day, and they'd lock it in a filing cabinet, and drivers would grab that on the way out of the bus. They also use these as a kiosk for timekeeping. So essentially, they come in, they can clock in on one tablet, they can grab a different tablet, take their run, and clock off on that other tablet. Because it's tracking it through the student tracking system, it doesn't have to be in the same punch clock. It allows a lot more flexibility. If you have drivers that are parking out at their house and other considerations, taking field trips, all of that stuff can be tracked from the driver's end as well. And it doesn't have to be tied to any singular tablet. Any driver can log in, it pulls in their agenda, all the runs that they're assigned to, all the field trips that they're assigned to today.
Thank you.
Any further questions for the presenters? Let's get a motion to move forward. Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Duplantis. Do we have any comments from the public? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Ron Sapie, 110 Bourgeois Street, Rayson, Louisiana. Just kind of thinking of something. Let's say you're a teacher in the morning in the first grade class. It'd be really good to know if something happens with that delayed bus and why John, Mary, and Joe are not present when I call roll at first hour class. Just, put it that way, so I'm not asking a question.
I can speak to that.
Any other public comment? Any further discussion from the board? Yes, ma'am.
I know it's a big expense, but I know, especially parents of elementary kids, this is huge because they have to go outside and wait for the children. So I've heard from a lot of parents, this is like a good thing.
True. Knowing if the bus is on time or delayed is going to help those parents a lot, especially if they're not at home all day waiting. If they're going to that bus stop to meet the kids, that can definitely be beneficial. And in the beginning of the school year too, when there's more delays than a regular part of the year, I think that would be nice.
And just in the event that we don't discuss this a whole lot for the whole board meeting, I do want to tell the board members present tonight, you're buying routing software. And I know that's obvious, but we talked a lot about the really nice to have features, but at the end of the day, this is also going to make us much more streamlined at adopting routes that are safe, that are navigable, able to navigate well, our very unique roads and get kids home very quickly, and also running alternate routes. When a bus breaks down and needs to run an alternate route, you won't have to have run that route 7 times to know where the routes are. It's pre-programmed, just like driving for Uber now. It's going to tell you, go make a right, go to Knockhand Street, the stop is right here. So the non-fancy features are frankly what's probably Chris's motivating factor for wanting this so badly. So it makes getting the bus where it needs to be safe and efficient. So, that's a huge part of this that you really can't overlook because of all the it's a great thing for parents. It's also a really good thing for the transportation.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. Motion carries. Thank you both very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, folks.
And with no further business for the committee, the meeting is adjourned.